The fluorescent lights in Harcourt-Drayton's 42nd floor cast everything in that particular shade of corporate despair that makes you wonder if this is what purgatory looks like. Glass walls, open-plan desks, and the constant hum of ambition grinding against reality. I'm Owen Harcourt, Senior Data Analyst, Invisible Man Extraordinaire, and tonight I'm staring at my wife's calendar on her laptop screen while she's in the shower. Midnight champagne, Brent. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Christmas Eve. While I'm here eating leftover Chinese takeout and wondering when my marriage became a business transaction, my CEO wife Leah is planning to ring in Christmas with her marketing director. The same marketing director who's been giving me those patronizing smiles and helpful suggestions about my performance reviews. Leah emerges from our ensuite bathroom, toweling her auburn hair. Even at 41, she's stunning in that calculated way that makes boardrooms fall silent. Ice blue eyes, sharp cheekbones, and the kind of presence that could freeze hell over. "Still working?" she asks, not really caring about the answer. "Just reviewing some quarterly reports," I lie smoothly. The art of deception. I've learned it well in this house. She's already moving toward her walk-in closet, selecting something appropriately festive yet professional. Everything Leah does serves a purpose. Even her Christmas outfits are strategic. "I'll be late tonight. Emergency strategy session with the marketing team." Strategy session, right. I've seen Brent Wilder's idea of strategy. All flash, no substance, and about as American as apple pie with extra ego. He arrived 6 months ago from some failed startup in California, all white teeth and gym-sculpted confidence. The kind of guy who uses phrases like synergistic solutions and paradigm shifts without irony. "On Christmas Eve?" I ask, playing the concerned husband. "Business doesn't stop for holidays, Owen. You should understand that by now." The dismissive tone is nothing new. It's the same voice she uses in meetings when someone suggests an idea that doesn't align with her vision. Cold, efficient, final. My phone buzzes. Text from Sabrina, my assistant, and the office's unofficial intelligence network. "Queen Bee's boy toy just ordered champagne delivery to the penthouse suite. Guess who's working late tonight?" Sabrina's 29, sharp as a blade, and has her finger on every pulse in this building. If there's gossip to be had, she's either the source or the distributor, sometimes both. "Have a good evening," Leah says, checking her reflection one final time. "Perfect, as always. Don't wait up." She kisses my forehead, a gesture so devoid of warmth it might as well be a business handshake, and glides out of our Chelsea townhouse like she's walking to a board meeting instead of an affair. I sit in the silence of our expensively decorated home, surrounded by furniture that costs more than most people's cars and art that hangs on walls like expensive prisoners. Everything here is beautiful, curated, and utterly lifeless. My laptop chimes with another message. This time it's from HR Director Priya Patel, sent to all senior staff. Reminder: all expense reports must be submitted by December 30th. Any irregularities will be flagged for review in the new year. Irregularities. That's interesting timing. I open my secure work portal and start digging through the expense database. One of the perks of being a senior data analyst, I have access to almost everything. Financial records, travel expenses, departmental budgets, all the boring numbers that tell the real story of how this company operates. Brent Wilder's expense report makes for fascinating reading. Training weekends at luxury resorts, client dinners that cost more than my monthly salary, conference attendance at venues that specialize more in spa treatments than professional development. And then there are the gifts. Expensive bottles of wine charged to client relations. Jewelry purchases listed under promotional materials. A weekend trip to Paris categorized as market research. All of it approved by the CEO. All of it signed off by my wife. I screenshot everything, creating a digital paper trail that would make any auditor salivate. Not fraud exactly. Nothing that would land anyone in prison. But definitely the kind of expense abuse that makes boards very nervous and shareholders very angry. Another text from Sabrina. Heard through the grapevine that your promotion got mysteriously delayed again. Funny how these things happen when you're not part of the inner circle. The promotion, 6 months overdue, always delayed by some new excuse. Budget constraints, restructuring, performance concerns that are never quite specific enough to address. I know exactly why it's been delayed. I'm not part of Leah's new vision for the company. I'm the old guard, the reminder of when she was just another ambitious executive instead of the queen of this particular corporate castle. My phone rings. Unknown number, but I recognize the voice immediately. Owen, it's Richard Drayton. Leah's father, board chairman, old-school businessman, and the man who built this company from nothing. His voice carries the weight of someone who's used to being obeyed without question. Richard, Merry Christmas. Is my daughter home? She's at the office. Emergency strategy session. The pause that follows could freeze vodka. I see. Owen, we should talk soon, after the holidays. About what? About the future of this company, and your place in it. The line goes silent. I stare at my phone, then at the laptop screen full of Brent's questionable expenses. Then at the empty champagne glass Leah left on the kitchen counter. The pieces of a puzzle I didn't know I was solving start clicking into place. Tomorrow is Christmas. The day after that, I go back to being the invisible man in the corner office, processing data and pretending I don't notice the whispers and sideways glances. But tonight, I'm going to do something about it. I open a new document and start typing my resignation letter. Then I delete it and start typing something else entirely. A complaint. Detailed, documented, and absolutely devastating. The Harcourt-Drayton building at midnight looks like a glass monument to insomnia. Security lights cast long shadows through the empty corridors, and my footsteps echo off the polished marble floors as I make my way to the elevator. My keycard still works, one of the benefits of being senior staff and generally invisible. Nobody thinks to revoke access for the guy who shows up early, stays late, and never causes trouble. 42nd floor. Executive territory. Brent's office is 3 doors down from Leah's, with a view of the Thames that probably costs more in rent than most people's annual salaries. His computer is password protected, but I don't need his computer. I need his filing cabinet, and Brent's the type who still prints important documents because he doesn't trust the cloud. The lockpicks I ordered online 6 months ago, ostensibly for a hobby I never developed, work better than expected. The filing cabinet surrenders its secrets with barely a whisper. Inside, I find exactly what I'm looking for. Personal correspondence mixed with business files. Love letters from his ex-girlfriend back in California. Photos that definitely don't belong in a corporate filing system. And most importantly, receipts. Receipts for purchases that never made it onto his official expense reports. Cash transactions for gifts that were later claimed as business expenses. A paper trail that shows exactly how creative Brent's been with his accounting. I photograph everything with my phone, making sure the timestamps and metadata are preserved. Digital evidence that would hold up under scrutiny. Working late? I freeze. The voice belongs to Marcus, the night security guard. He's standing in the doorway, flashlight in hand, looking more curious than suspicious. Emergency data recovery, I say, thinking fast. System crash earlier today. Had to come in and rebuild the quarterly reports from hard copies. Marcus nods sympathetically. He's been here longer than most of the executives, invisible in his own way. Computers, right? More trouble than they're worth sometimes. Tell me about it. He moves on, continuing his rounds. I wait until his footsteps fade before finishing my work. Back home at 3 a.m., I spread everything across my kitchen table like a detective working a case. expense reports, receipts, email timestamps, calendar entries, the complete picture of how my wife and her boy toy have been playing fast and loose with company resources. But this isn't just about money. It's about power, respect, and the systematic humiliation I've endured for months. I remember the staff meeting where Brent, jokingly, suggested I might be more comfortable in a junior analyst position. The laughter from my colleagues, people I'd considered friends until they decided backing the new golden boy was more important than loyalty. I remember Jennifer Walsh, my supposed best friend in accounting, who stopped returning my calls after Leah made it clear that association with me wasn't career-enhancing. I remember Tom Bradley from IT, who used to grab lunch with me twice a week until he started getting invited to Brent's exclusive innovation sessions. One by one, my social circle at work evaporated. Not through any dramatic confrontation, just the slow, quiet isolation that happens when you're on the wrong side of corporate politics. My laptop chimes with an email. Automated system notification about unusual network access. Someone's monitoring login activity. Time to move fast. I draft 3 documents. First, my formal resignation from Harcourt-Drayton, effective immediately. Professional, courteous, and completely unexpected. Second, a detailed complaint to HR about expense irregularities and potential conflicts of interest. Names, dates, amounts, and supporting documentation attached. Third, an anonymous tip to the board of directors about potential financial improprieties requiring immediate investigation. I schedule all 3 to send at 6 a.m. Christmas morning, early enough to ruin someone's holiday, late enough that I'll be long gone before anyone can respond. But I'm not done yet. I open my personal laptop and start composing a different kind of message. Social media has its uses, especially when you want to reach a wide audience quickly. The company's internal Slack channel is buzzing even at this hour. Insomniacs and workaholics sharing memes and complaints. I screenshot some of Brent's more ridiculous expense claims and upload them to an anonymous image-sharing site. Guess who's been living large on company funds? I don't post it yet. That's for later, when the official complaints have had time to circulate. My phone buzzes. Text from Sabrina sent 20 minutes ago. Saw lights on in the executive floor. Either we have very dedicated ghosts or someone's pulling an all-nighter. Everything okay? I type back. Just couldn't sleep. Thinking about career changes. About time. You deserve better than this place. Sabrina's loyalty has been one of the few bright spots in this corporate nightmare. She's seen everything, the snubs, the dismissals, the gradual erosion of my position. She's also the one person in the office who isn't afraid to speak truth to power. Want some advice? She texts. Always. Whatever you're planning, make it count. You only get one shot at this. She's right. In corporate warfare, there are no second chances. You either win decisively or you get destroyed completely. I look at the clock. 4:47 a.m. In a little over an hour, my carefully crafted bombs will detonate across the Harcourt-Drayton corporate structure. Leah will wake up to a career crisis. Brent will find his golden boy status tarnished beyond repair, and I'll be free to start over somewhere else. But freedom isn't enough. Not after months of humiliation and betrayal. I want them to feel exactly what I felt. Powerless, embarrassed, abandoned by the people they thought they could count on. I open my contacts list and start making calls. Christmas morning arrives with the kind of gray London drizzle that makes everything look like a crime scene. I'm sitting in my kitchen, coffee growing cold, watching my phone light up with notifications. 6:02 a.m. Email delivery confirmation for my resignation. 6:03 a.m. HR complaint successfully submitted. 6:04 a.m. Anonymous board tip sent and received, and then the fireworks begin. 6:17 a.m. Richard Drayton calling. I let it go to voicemail. 6:23 a.m. Priya Patel from HR, also voicemail. 6:31 a.m. Leah. This one I answer. What the hell did you do? Her voice could cut glass. Good morning to you too, darling. Merry Christmas. Don't play games with me, Owen. I have 3 different department heads asking me about expense irregularities and conflict of interest complaints. Sounds like a busy morning for you. You son of a... She catches herself. Even in rage, Leah maintains her professional composure. We need to talk. Now. Actually, we don't. I quit. Check your email. The silence stretches for nearly 30 seconds. You can't be serious. Absolutely serious. I'm done being your invisible husband and your company's forgotten employee. Owen, listen to me very carefully. You're making a huge mistake. Come home. We'll work this out. Like we worked out my promotion? Like we worked out your midnight strategy sessions with Brent? Another pause. When she speaks again, her voice has shifted into full CEO mode. Cold, calculating, dangerous. If you think you can threaten me or this company, you're more naive than I thought. I built this place into what it is today. I won't let you destroy it out of some petty jealousy. Petty jealousy? Is that what you call it when your wife publicly humiliates you and sleeps with her subordinate? Prove it. 2 words that tell me everything I need to know. She's not denying the affair. She's challenging me to expose it. I don't need to prove anything, Leah. The board will handle that. I hang up and immediately call Jennifer Walsh. Jennifer answers on the first ring, probably expecting a Christmas greeting from an old friend. Instead, she gets something else entirely. Owen, what's wrong? You sound... I need to ask you something, Jennifer. When was the last time you invited me to lunch? What? Owen, it's Christmas morning. Is everything okay? Answer the question. When was the last time you treated me like a friend instead of a career liability? The silence tells me everything. Jennifer's always been ambitious, but she used to be loyal too. Used to be. That's not fair, she finally says. Things have been complicated at work. You know how it is. No, I don't know how it is. Explain it to me. Owen, please. Can we not do this today? When then? When would be a good time to discuss how you abandoned our friendship the moment Leah decided I wasn't worth her time? It's not like that. Isn't it? When was the last time you returned one of my calls? When was the last time you acknowledged me in a meeting? When was the last time you acted like we were friends instead of strangers? You're being unfair. I have a career to think about. And I didn't? I had a career too, Jennifer. I had friends too. Until all of you decided that backing Brent was more important than basic human decency. Brent's been good for the company. His initiatives are funded by expense account fraud and approved by his lover. How's that for company morale? What are you talking about? Check the company Slack in about an hour. You'll see exactly what kind of man you've been supporting. I hang up and immediately dial Tom Bradley. Tom's voicemail picks up after 2 rings. Either he's screening calls or he's already heard about my resignation and wants nothing to do with the fallout. Tom, it's Owen. I know you're there. I know you're avoiding this call because you know exactly why I'm calling. You want to talk about career advancement? Let's talk about what it costs. Let's talk about what you gave up to get invited to those innovation sessions. I pause, knowing he's listening. You gave up 15 years of friendship. You gave up your integrity. You gave up the right to look yourself in the mirror and call yourself a decent person. Was it worth it, Tom? Was Brent's approval worth selling out someone who considered you a brother? I hang up and check the time. 7:23 a.m. Perfect. I open the company Slack and post the screenshots I prepared last night. Brent's expense reports in all their glory, highlighted and annotated for maximum impact. Merry Christmas from your marketing director. Guess who's been funding his lifestyle with company money? The response is immediate and explosive. Within minutes, the post has dozens of reactions and comments. Anger, shock, dark humor, and more than a few "I knew it" responses from people who'd suspected but never had proof. Sabrina responds first. Finally, someone with the guts to call this out. Then others join in. $2,000 for a client dinner at a couple's spa resort? Really? Look at the dates. Half of these business trips were romantic getaways. Who approved these? This is insane. Check the approval signatures. This goes all the way to the top. My phone starts ringing again. Leah, Richard, Priya, and numbers I don't recognize. Probably reporters. News of corporate expense scandals travels fast in London's business community. I answer none of them. Instead, I pour myself another coffee and watch my former life burn down in real time. At 8:45 a.m., Brent posts his own response to the Slack channel. These allegations are completely false and taken out of context. I will be pursuing legal action against whoever is responsible for this defamatory attack on my character and reputation. The response is swift and merciless. Legal action? With what money? Your salary or the company's? Taken out of context? What context makes a $500 bottle of wine a legitimate business expense? Maybe he can expense his lawyer fees too. By 9:30 a.m., the story has spread beyond the company. Someone leaked the Slack conversation to a business journalist, and now the screenshots are making rounds on Twitter and LinkedIn. Breaking: senior executive at major London firm caught in expense scandal. More details to follow. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is Brent. We need to talk. You're making a huge mistake. I can make this all go away if you retract your statements. I text back, the only mistake was trusting you and Leah to treat me with basic human respect. Too late for negotiations. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Leah has connections. She can destroy your career permanently. My career was already destroyed. You and she made sure of that. Now it's your turn. This isn't over. You're right. It's just getting started. I screenshot our text conversation and add it to my growing file of evidence. Threats, intimidation, attempts to silence whistleblowers. The board will love this. At 10:15 a.m., Priya Patel calls again. This time I answer. Owen, we need to meet immediately. Can you come in today? It's Christmas, Priya. Surely this can wait until tomorrow. I'm afraid it can't. The board has called an emergency meeting. Your allegations are being taken very seriously. Good. They should be. There are also counter-allegations being made about your conduct and access to confidential information. Let me guess. Brent and Leah are claiming I stole data. I can't discuss the specifics over the phone, but Owen, be very careful. This situation is escalating quickly. It was always going to escalate, Priya. The only question was whether it would be handled quietly or publicly. They chose publicly the moment they decided to threaten me. No one's threatening anyone. We just want to resolve this professionally. Professional? There's nothing professional about sleeping with your subordinate and using company funds to pay for it. There's nothing professional about systematically isolating and humiliating an employee who's never done anything but his job. Owen, tell the board I'll be happy to meet with them, tomorrow, with my lawyer present, and tell Leah and Brent that if they want to play hardball, I've got plenty more where this came from. I hang up and immediately start composing my next move. Time to call in some favors. Boxing Day morning brings unexpected visitors. I'm barely dressed when the doorbell rings at 8 a.m. sharp. Through the peephole, I see Harcourt-Drayton standing on my doorstep, looking every one of his 68 years. Richard, this is a surprise. May I come in, Owen? He's alone, which is interesting. No Leah, no lawyers, no corporate entourage, just a tired old man who built an empire and is watching his daughter tear it down. Coffee? Please. We sit in my kitchen, two men who've known each other for 12 years but have never really talked. Richard built Harcourt-Drayton from nothing, turning a small consulting firm into a multinational corporation. Leah inherited his vision, but none of his wisdom. You know why I'm here, he says. I can guess. You want me to retract my complaints and disappear quietly. I want to understand what you hope to accomplish. Justice, accountability, basic human dignity. Richard sips his coffee and studies me with the same calculating gaze that made him a legend in London's business community. I've known you since you married my daughter. You're not vindictive by nature. This isn't about money or revenge. What is it about? Respect. Something your daughter forgot I deserved. Leah's always been ambitious. Sometimes that ambition clouds her judgment. Ambition doesn't excuse adultery. It doesn't excuse financial impropriety. And it sure as hell doesn't excuse treating people like disposable assets. What do you want, Owen? Name your price. The offer hangs in the air between us. Richard's old-school approach to problem-solving. Everything has a price. Every problem has a solution. Every person has their breaking point. I want your daughter and her boy toy to face the consequences of their actions. I want the board to see exactly what kind of leadership they've been endorsing, and I want everyone who turned their back on me to understand what loyalty actually means. That's not a price, Owen. That's revenge. Sometimes they're the same thing. Richard sets down his coffee cup and leans back in his chair. For a moment, he looks less like a corporate titan and more like a disappointed father. Leah came to see me last night. She's convinced you've lost your mind, that you're having some kind of breakdown. And what do you think? I think you're the sanest person in this whole mess, which is why I'm here. That catches me off guard. I built that company to last, Owen. I built it on principles that mattered. Integrity, loyalty, merit-based advancement. Leah's turned it into something I don't recognize. So why protect her? Because she's my daughter, and because destroying her won't bring back what you've lost. Maybe not, but it'll prevent her from destroying anyone else. My phone buzzes with a text from Sabrina. Emergency board meeting scheduled for this afternoon. Word is they're bringing in external auditors. Whatever you did, it's working. I show Richard the message. His expression doesn't change, but I see something flicker in his eyes. Fear, maybe, or resignation. There's something you should know, he says quietly. About Brent's hiring. About why Leah was so eager to bring him on board. I'm listening. He wasn't her first choice for the position. He wasn't even in the top 5 candidates, but he had something the others didn't. Which was? Leverage. The word hits me like a physical blow. What kind of leverage? The kind that makes ambitious people do stupid things. Brent had information about some of Leah's previous indiscretions. Nothing illegal, but potentially embarrassing if it became public. So she hired him to keep him quiet? She hired him because he made it clear that staying quiet had a price, a very comfortable, well-compensated price. I stare at Richard, processing this new information. Leah didn't fall for Brent's charm. She was being blackmailed by him. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know the truth, and because Leah's too proud to tell you herself. This doesn't change anything, Richard. Blackmail victim or not, she still chose to handle it by destroying my career and humiliating me publicly. I know. I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm asking you to consider the possibility that she's as much a victim in this as you are. The difference is, she had choices. She could have come to you, to the board, to me. Instead, she chose to protect herself at everyone else's expense. Richard stands up, suddenly looking every one of his years. The board meeting is at 2 p.m. They'll want to hear your side of the story. They'll get it, all of it. Owen, be careful what you wish for. Once this starts, there's no going back, for any of us. After he leaves, I sit in my kitchen, staring at my phone and thinking about leverage. Brent's been playing a longer game than I realized, but 2 can play that game. I open my laptop and start digging deeper into his background. If he's been blackmailing Leah, chances are she's not his only victim. It takes me 3 hours, but I find what I'm looking for. Brent Wilder's previous company in California, a startup that folded amid allegations of financial impropriety and harassment. No criminal charges, but plenty of civil settlements and non-disclosure agreements. I find contact information for 3 of his former colleagues and start making calls. The first 2 go to voicemail. The third, a woman named Sarah Chen who worked in HR at Brent's previous company, answers on the second ring. Sarah, this is Owen Harcourt. I work at Harcourt-Drayton in London. I'm calling about Brent Wilder. Oh God, she says immediately. What's he done now? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Can you tell me about his time at your company? Are you recording this call? No, this is completely off the record. Sarah pauses, then starts talking. What she tells me over the next 20 minutes makes me freeze. Brent's pattern is always the same. Charm his way into a position of trust, gather compromising information about his superiors, then use that information to secure better positions and more money. When one company gets too hot, he moves to another. He's a parasite, Sarah says. He finds successful people with secrets and bleeds them dry. Your CEO isn't his first victim, and she won't be his last. What kind of secrets? Anything he can use. Affairs, financial irregularities, family problems, addiction issues. He's very good at making people trust him, and even better at remembering everything they tell him. How did he finally get caught at your company? Someone finally stood up to him, a senior manager who decided that losing his job was better than being blackmailed. He went to the board with everything, recordings, documents, witness statements. Brent was gone within a week. What happened to the manager? He was fired too, guilt by association, but he said it was worth it to get rid of Brent. After I hang up, I sit in silence, processing everything I've learned. Leah's not just an unfaithful wife, she's a blackmail victim who's been systematically manipulated by a professional predator. Brent's not just an arrogant executive, he's a career criminal who's been getting away with it for years. And I'm not just a betrayed husband, I'm the only person in a position to stop him. I look at the clock. 1:15 p.m. The board meeting starts in 45 minutes. Time to end this. The Harcourt-Drayton boardroom feels different when you're the star witness instead of the invisible analyst. 42nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Thames, and a mahogany table that probably costs more than most people's houses. I'm early, which gives me time to set up my laptop and organize my evidence. Financial records, expense reports, screenshots, recorded phone calls, and now Sarah Chen's testimony about Brent's previous crimes. Richard enters first, followed by the other board members, 7 people who collectively control billions in assets, and today they're all focused on me. Priya Patel arrives with a legal team, 2 lawyers I don't recognize, and a woman with a digital recorder who's obviously here to document everything. Leah enters at exactly 2 p.m., flanked by her own lawyers. She's dressed in her power suit, navy blue, perfectly tailored, designed to project authority and control, but I can see the cracks in her armor. Dark circles under her eyes, a slight tremor in her hands, the rigid posture of someone holding themselves together through sheer willpower. Brent isn't here. Interesting. Mr. Harcourt, says board member Margaret Stone, a steel-haired woman who's been with the company since its early days. Thank you for joining us. We understand you have serious allegations to present. I do. But first, I'd like to know where Mr. Wilder is. These allegations involve him directly. Mr. Wilder has retained legal counsel and will not be participating in today's meeting, Richard says carefully. I see. Well, his presence isn't required for what I'm about to show you. I open my laptop and connect it to the room's presentation system. The first slide appears on the wall-mounted screen. Financial irregularities and conflicts of interest, a pattern of abuse. For the next hour, I walk them through everything. Brent's expense reports, the suspicious timing of his romantic getaways with Leah, the systematic approval of fraudulent claims, and the paper trail that connects it all. The board members ask sharp questions, but I have sharp answers. Dates, amounts, documentation, witnesses, everything they need to understand the scope of the problem. These are serious allegations, Mr. Harcourt, says board member James Wright, but they don't necessarily constitute criminal behavior. You're right, but this does. I advance to the next slide. Blackmail and extortion. Brent Wilder's criminal pattern. I tell them about Sarah Chen, about Brent's previous company, about the systematic way he's been targeting executives with compromising information. Are you suggesting that Mr. Wilder has been blackmailing CEO Drayton? Margaret asks. I'm not suggesting it. I'm stating it as fact. Leah speaks for the first time since the meeting began. That's a lie. Is it? Then explain why you hired someone with Brent's background. Explain why you've been approving obviously fraudulent expense reports. Explain why you've been meeting him for strategy sessions at midnight. My personal relationships are not the board's concern. They are when they involve company resources and potential criminal activity. Enough, Richard says quietly. Leah, is there truth to these allegations about blackmail? The silence stretches for nearly a minute. Leah stares at the table, her lawyers whisper urgently in her ears, and the board waits for an answer that could destroy everything she's built. Yes, she finally whispers. The admission hits the room like a bomb. What kind of information does Mr. Wilder have? Margaret asks. Personal information, about mistakes I made early in my career. Nothing illegal, but potentially damaging to my reputation and the company's stock price. And you felt that hiring him and meeting his financial demands was preferable to dealing with this information publicly? I thought I could manage the situation. I thought I could control him. By sleeping with him? I ask. Leah's head snaps up, her eyes blazing with fury. You have no idea what you're talking about. Don't I? You've been having an affair with him for months. Everyone in the company knows it. The only question is whether it started before or after the blackmail. It's not an affair, she says through gritted teeth. It's survival. Brent made it clear that keeping his mouth shut required more than just money. It required personal attention. The room goes silent. Are you saying Mr. Wilder coerced you into a private relationship? One of the lawyers asks. I'm saying he made his expectations very clear, and I made the choice to protect this company and my position in it. By destroying our marriage and my career in the process, I did what I had to do. You did what was easiest for you. You threw me under the bus to save yourself. Leah stands up, her composure finally cracking completely. You think this has been easy? You think I enjoyed any of it? I've been trapped for months, trying to protect everything we built, while you sat in your office processing data and pretending everything was fine. I pretended everything was fine because you made it clear that questioning you was career suicide. I pretended everything was fine because every time I tried to talk to you, you shut me down. I pretended everything was fine because I loved you and trusted you to handle whatever was wrong. Well, congratulations, Owen. You've handled it now. You've destroyed everything. I've exposed the truth. There's a difference. Richard clears his throat. The board needs to discuss these revelations privately. Mr. Harcourt, Mrs. Drayton, we'll need you both to step outside while we deliberate. In the hallway, Leah and I stand 15 feet apart, not speaking. Her lawyers huddle around her, whispering strategies and damage control. I stand alone, checking my phone. Text from Sabrina. Building's buzzing with rumors. Security just escorted Brent out. He looked like he was about to cry. Another text, this one from Jennifer. Owen, I saw the news reports. I'm so sorry. I should have supported you. Can we talk? Too little. Too late. 45 minutes later, we're called back into the boardroom. Margaret Stone speaks for the board. After careful consideration of the evidence presented, we've reached several decisions. First, effective immediately, Brent Wilder's employment with Harcourt-Drayton is terminated. All benefits, stock options, and severance packages are forfeit. We will be pursuing recovery of all improperly claimed expenses. Second, CEO Leah Drayton is hereby suspended pending a full investigation into her handling of this situation. During her suspension, Richard Drayton will resume his role as interim CEO. Third, we will be referring this matter to the appropriate authorities for potential criminal prosecution of Mr. Wilder. Leah's face goes white. You're destroying me over this. You destroyed yourself, Richard says sadly. We're just cleaning up the mess. And what about Owen? She asks. What about his resignation? Mr. Harcourt's resignation is rescinded, Margaret says. We're offering him a promotion to Senior Director of Financial Oversight, with a substantial salary increase and expanded authority to investigate financial irregularities. I look at Leah, then at Richard, then at the board members who just handed me everything I thought I wanted. Thank you, I say, but I decline. The room erupts in surprised murmurs. I don't want to work here anymore. I don't want to be part of a company that allowed this to happen. I don't want to spend my days looking over my shoulder, wondering who's plotting against whom. I close my laptop and stand up. I came here for justice and I got it. Brent's gone, Leah's facing consequences, and the truth is finally out. That's enough for me. Owen, Richard says, don't let pride cost you your future. My future isn't here, Richard. It never was. I walk toward the door, then turn back for one final statement. Leah, I'm sorry this happened to you. I'm sorry Brent put you in an impossible situation, but I'm not sorry for exposing it. You had choices every step of the way, and you consistently chose to protect yourself at everyone else's expense. That's not leadership. That's cowardice. And to the board, this company has a culture problem that goes way deeper than one bad hire. You might want to think about that before you pat yourselves on the back for handling this crisis. I leave them sitting in their expensive boardroom, staring at each other across their mahogany table, wondering how everything went so wrong so fast. Outside, London's winter afternoon feels like freedom. 3 days later, I'm sitting in a coffee shop in Covent Garden, reading the morning papers and watching my former life become front-page news. Harcourt-Drayton CEO suspended in blackmail scandal. Executive expense, fraud rocks, major London firm, whistleblower exposes corporate corruption. The financial press is having a field day. Stock prices have dropped 12% since the story broke. Shareholders are demanding answers. Regulatory agencies are launching investigations. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. Job offers from competitors, interview requests from journalists, and messages from colleagues who suddenly remember we were friends. I ignore most of them. The one call I do take is from Sarah Chen in California. I saw the news, she says. You actually did it. You stopped him. We stopped him. Your testimony was crucial. How does it feel? Complicated. It always is. But you did the right thing, Owen. Brent would have kept destroying people if someone hadn't stood up to him. After we hang up, I sit in the coffee shop and think about consequences. Brent's facing criminal charges in both the UK and California. Turns out Sarah wasn't his only victim willing to testify once they realized he couldn't hurt them anymore. Leah's fighting to keep her position, but the board's investigation is uncovering years of questionable decisions. Her suspension is likely to become permanent termination. Richard's back in charge, trying to rebuild confidence and restore the company's reputation. He's offered me consulting contracts, board positions, and partnership opportunities. All declined. Jennifer and Tom have both reached out, apologizing for their behavior and asking for forgiveness. I'm not ready for that conversation yet. Sabrina's been promoted to executive assistant to the interim CEO. She sends me daily updates on the office gossip and corporate restructuring. Apparently, my legend is growing with each retelling of the story. You're like the patron saint of wronged employees, she texted yesterday. People are lighting candles at your old desk. I'm exaggerating, but only slightly. My laptop chimes with a new email. The sender makes me sit up straight. Leah. Owen, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to say this. You were right about everything. I was a coward. I let fear control my decisions, and I hurt everyone who mattered to me in the process. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for another chance. I'm just asking you to know that I understand what I did to you, and I'm sorry. You deserved better. You deserved honesty, loyalty, and respect. You deserved a wife who would fight for you instead of against you. I hope whatever comes next for you is everything you want it to be. Leah. I read it twice, then closed the laptop without responding. Some apologies come too late to matter. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. You destroyed my career and my life. I'll make you pay for this. Brent. Still fighting battles he's already lost. I screenshot the message and forward it to Priya Patel with a note. Evidence of continued harassment. Thought the legal team should know. 5 minutes later, Priya calls me. Owen, we're getting a restraining order against Brent immediately. Are you concerned for your safety? Not particularly. He's all bluster and no substance. Always has been. Still, be careful. Desperate people do desperate things. After she hangs up, I finish my coffee and walk out into the London afternoon. The city feels different now. Lighter, somehow. Like a weight I didn't know I was carrying has finally been lifted. I have job interviews lined up with 3 different companies. All of them know exactly what happened at Harcourt-Drayton, and all of them see it as a selling point rather than a liability. We need people with integrity, one CEO told me. People who aren't afraid to do the right thing when it matters. I also have an offer to write a book about corporate whistleblowing. A publisher thinks my story could help other people in similar situations. Maybe. Or maybe I just want to move on and build something new. My phone rings. Richard Drayton. Owen, I wanted you to hear this from me first. The board voted this morning. Leah's termination is official. How is she taking it? About as well as you'd expect. She's talking about starting her own consulting firm. Good for her. She's talented, Richard. She just lost her way. You're more generous than she deserves. Maybe, but holding on to anger only hurts the person carrying it. Very wise. Owen, there's something else. The board wants to offer you a settlement, compensation for what you went through, plus coverage of any legal expenses. How much? He names a figure that makes me sit down on a nearby bench. That's very generous. It's what you're owed, plus a little extra for the headaches. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Offers like this have expiration dates. After he hangs up, I sit on the bench and watch London go about its business. People rushing to meetings, checking phones, chasing timelines and dreams and paychecks. A few months ago, I was one of them. Invisible, overlooked, grinding through each day without really thinking about what I wanted or who I was becoming. Now I'm free to choose, free to build something that matters, free to be someone worth respecting. My phone buzzes with one final message. This one from Sabrina. Heard about the settlement offer. Whatever you decide to do next, count me in. The corporate world needs more people like you. I smile and type back. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for everything, Sabrina. You're one of the good ones. So are you, boss. So are you. I put my phone away and start walking toward the Thames. The sun's setting over London, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold that make everything look possible. Tomorrow I'll start building my new life. Tonight, I'm just going to enjoy being free. Behind me, the Harcourt-Drayton building rises into the evening sky, its glass walls reflecting the sunset like a monument to ambition and consequence. I don't look back.